Let's rock.
Cool.
Awesome, bro. So appreciate you having me on here for one. I think you give me too much credit. A little too much credit there. I ain't nothing special over here. But yeah, so a little bit of my background. I don't come from sales. I actually didn't even know how to sell a pen or anything. It's a little joke if you ever watched Wolf of Wall Street. But anyway, um, I never knew how to sell anything. Came from corporate world, the whole nine. Struggled really bad when I came in. It was horrible. Like I didn't know sales at all. I was terrible. My everything was off. Matter of fact, I didn't even do much for the first like couple of months, right? But basically came in from corporate world, restructured my whole life, the whole nine, and then moved out to Arizona, and everything just took off, right? So I guess a couple of things is I had some business mentorship before FFL, but as far as sales and especially telesales, none at all, right? So I guess the first thing is it's just like dedication, man. That's the first thing. And I don't mean just dial on the phone 9 to 5. Like when we say hard work, I want to make it very clear that hard work is not just dialing the phone. Like to this day, last night I literally went home and I practiced sales. Like I don't stop. I keep going to keep fresh, right? So that's the first thing. If you take 2 hours a night minimum and just practice sales, like I literally would walk back and forth and like throw myself objections and then practice my tone and stuff with scripts. Like it sounds crazy, but dude, it works, right? Um, if you do that, like you get like an extra month out of the year, right? So it really comes down to, I know it's like everyone's worried about leads and this and that. Forget that for a second. I forget that for a second. Actually, forever. You need leads, but at the end of the day, it counts about when you get on the phone with somebody, right? So if you get on the phone, you can't handle objections the right way, you're gonna keep getting punched in the face. It's there's been other people who have said this too. Practice, like when your buddies call you to go out to drink or whatever. How bad do you want it? It's really that simple, right? Say no. No, I'm working on my dreams. I'm working on my business. I can't tonight. Sorry. Or in the next 2 months, can't at all. Sorry. Bye. Like that's what you gotta be willing to do. People who are great, they're not going out doing that stuff. It's just the reality of it, right? So that's the first thing, man. Nothing special, just willing to work hard. Like that's one of the biggest things, right? Um, I think that it took a while for me to dial in where I wanted to be at as far as like script and the whole nine and stuff. What I will tell you is the way I sell is completely different. I mean, Ben's heard me, it's like completely different, the whole nine. So that being said, you want me to just kind of rip and just throw things at you or what?
Yep, go for it. I think if you could, before we dive into that, kind of just walk us through specifically what your journey has looked like since you got your license. Walk us through the first couple of months and walk us through really that transformation that you've had. And if you could just give your top one or two factors that went into that transformation that you've had in sales, I think we'd get a lot from that.
For sure. So I would say my first couple months were horrible. Actually, my first probably like 8 months were horrible. I didn't do much. It was just not. I was not the was it the agent that you should have looked at, right? I just being very transparent, right? I was in my head. I was that guy who had to buy everything and buy suits and this and that because I thought that's what business owners did, right? That's what you needed, and it's completely backwards. It doesn't matter, right? So that's the first thing. Um, I started getting mad at myself and I was like, I need to figure this out. Like it was not, I was not too happy about it. The biggest transformation shift that I made, to be honest, was being around the right environment. And not that alone is not gonna make you successful. Let me make that clear, right? But like understanding business is cool, but if you're not around the right environment, like hopping on a plane coming to Arizona didn't like gain my skill set or anything. It's just that I'm around in the environment I need to be around to succeed at the level I want to, right? In the past month, business is like taken off. The systems in place and stuff. I'm looking back and I'm like, good God, like where did this even come from? Right. So I would say being around the right people, people who want to work as hard as you do. Don't let people hold you back. Like everyone on here, like you're all smart, right? I had a 1.8% GP in high school. You're probably smarter than me. Just throwing it out there, right? Like just being very transparent, right? So that's one of the biggest things. What I would say is where I got caught up a lot, special emphasis on this. I'm trying to sit here and recruit and sell and do everything at once when your number one priority should be learn how to sell. Don't even like literally just learn how to sell at a high level, because here's what happens. When you learn to sell at a high level, you no longer worry about the other stuff because you can delegate and then duplicate, right? I'm not sitting here sending 600 DMs a day. I'm just not. I'm focused on how do I make as much money as I possibly can and pay someone else to do it. But the experience, obviously, right? Making my head, I just hired an admin. And why? Because it was too much. Like I literally lost a week of production because I literally was running around like crazy. So learn to sell to the point where you can, I don't care if you're laying in a bed, learn to sell at any point, right? That's the biggest thing. I think we all get messed up with, I want to recruit, build this big business, but at the end of the day, if you can't teach someone to sell, no one's selling, nothing's growing at all. And everyone's quitting because they can't make money. It's really that simple, right? So that's the first thing. Same thing when I say to people about like, when I talk about leads, you'll hear that, you guys hear this too, right? Like, oh, leads suck, this and that. No, it's really that they suck. That's the honest to God truth, right? So just have the mindset where, hey guys, I'm gonna get good. I'm gonna be a savage on the phone. That should be your number one goal. Be a savage on the phone. Okay. It's just practice. How much do you want to win over the other person, right? So I think that's the biggest thing, is just understanding that you can delegate the rest and go, wow, I got a well-greased machine going. We're getting somewhere here, right? So that being said, whenever my background stuff, constantly be improving, right? So I don't care if you think that you've sales down or not. 3 days of not selling could destroy your next day. Like get to the point where like you're making the conversations quality over the phone, right? It's like it's game time. As soon as they pick up, it's game time, baby. Let's go, right? And even if it is quality, go home. Spend a half hour going over stuff. Who cares? It's not going to hurt you. Most people, they'll get up here and then they'll fall back down because they never consistently did something, right? I don't think anyone here wants that to happen to them, right? You want to keep rising, right? People constantly improve, whether it's business, sales, whatever it is, right? And by the way, the lifeblood of a business is sales. So you should probably get pretty good at it and duplicating that, right? So big thing is that, but also having systems in place. And I'm kind of jumping around here, by the way, but just kind of everything I've learned. Having systems in place. So that's a big thing. You can sell all you want, but if you can't grow, you're just a producer. You don't have a full business. Just the reality of it. So what systems do you have? How do you get people in? How do you plug them in as quick as possible, right? And how do you have people take that work off your hands? Because you can't grow everything by yourself. You need a team. It's really that simple, which all goes back to sell at a high level, and you can just delegate, right? Like that's like the lifeblood. Learn to sell at a high level, 100%, right? The 2 hours of training, honestly, for me, 7 days a week. I'm not saying everyone has to do that. Do as you please. It's your business. But if you want to succeed at a high level, especially in the beginning, 7 days a week. I don't care if it's just training. I don't care what it is. I mean, from Monday till night, Monday through Sunday, for months straight, all I did was train. So like, you look at it now, like, oh, he's good at sales. Yeah, cool. But you know how much I like sacrifice for that? How much are you willing to sacrifice? It's what it really comes down to. We all want integrity. We all want this massive agency. How much are you willing to give? What price are you willing to pay? Right? That's one of the biggest things, bro. Honestly. Here's key. There's a 20, 20, and 60% rule, right? 20% of people will always buy from everybody. 20% of people will never buy from anyone. And 60%, that's where skill comes in. I don't care about the first 220. Couldn't care less about it. What I care about is that 60%. When I get on the phone, I want to be able to handle every single objection, okay, to the point where there might have been 5 other people to talk to them before. I'm the one that's going to close them. Focus on the 60. Focus on the skill. For people to say, oh, I want laydowns. Yeah, that's cool. But when money gets tight for people and you can't close a deal, how much are you going to like laydowns? When we deal with people, we're on the phone with people who are tight on money, right? So like, how do you learn a down close, right? Stuff of that nature. So that's a big thing, is a 2026. I don't care about the 220s. I only care about the 60. Because the laydown is going to happen regardless, right? So if you just focus on the 60, you have no problems, right? 100%. One thing I changed a lot. Oh, this is huge. Immediate drafts. For the love of God, don't ask people when they want it drafted, because nobody ever wants it drafted. They don't want a bill, right? So this is how I phrase it. And this is important because I just literally just started implementing this, and I'm like, oh, good God, it works like a charm, right? I literally say to them, now, once you're approved, the first draft is going to come out within 24 to 48 hours. Okay. You're going to get a text from the company. Let me know when you get that. That's it. I don't sit there and ask them if they stop me. They stop me. And if at the end of the call they go, oh, and when is this coming out? They didn't hear me. I'll just adjust it. It's not a big deal. Calling the carriers, adjust it. It takes 2 seconds, right? You could verify even for like, are you gonna have the money in there? But I stay away from even the word money on the phone. People get freaked out over that stuff. Like, be very careful how you say things over the phone. It can make or break sales, right? That's a big thing, right? Other than that, I mean, let's see here. Focus on the 60, constantly proven my background. I guess we'll kind of get into like sales in general, right? Like, so tone is huge, arguably the most important part. If you don't have the right tone on the phone, you will come across as every other person that's ever called them. Now, let's look at this quick, right? Everyone stay here for a second and think, if someone called you with the script and the way you're saying it, how would you react? Yeah, you'd all hang up on yourself, right? Or some of you would, right? So if you're going to hang up on yourself, why wouldn't they hang up on you? We're in an age of people getting scammed like crazy, Medicare going crazy, calling everyone, right? And that's open enrollment right now, right? People's phones are getting blown up. What makes you different? Are you just another person selling them life insurance? How do you go about different where you don't sound like every other person on the phone? I focus on being different because here's what happens, right? If you sound the same, you get put in a group over here. You would be like over here, right? Oh, this guy, I'm actually going to talk to this guy. He sounds different, right? You draw him in. But when you're just using the same thing over and over again, and you sound the same, just always think about this. How does it perceived across the phone, right? We're dealing with seniors, right? Sometimes they're doing mortgage protection younger, right? But regardless, they fill something out, they get 3 trillion calls. Be different. Be different, right? Don't sound salesy the whole 9. Okay. The second thing is going to be in the first 5 to, I think it's 15 seconds. Correct. You might have to correct me on that one, but it's a make or break. The brain goes into fight or flight mode. So I'm going to get into like psychology here for a second, but when you talk to someone on the phone in the first 5 to 15 seconds, subconsciously, which our brain is 95% subconscious, click, right? So you triggered that somehow most of the time. Now, do I win every call? Heck no, I don't win every call. But what I would tell you is I sat down with an agent the other day. I recorded an opening for her, and an hour later, she closed $1,000. She was different. That's all it was. She was different, right? So you want to go, okay, what does my opener sound like? Right? So here's what I can tell you. Stay away from things nobody knows anything about because it builds no credibility. I don't say people's date of birth. Why? Because they don't care. Straightforward, they do not care. They don't care that it's state regulated or any of that stuff. They don't care. They don't even know what that means. They don't care if you're an underwriter because they don't even know what that means. Right? The word life insurance creeps people out. Big time. Like, it's just how it is, right? I don't say this is, I say it's Sean, right? I was supposed to call, right? I didn't say anything about being assigned to you, anything like that, right? The reason I do that is because I just know what people don't really truly care about. Me saying their date of birth is not going to draw their attention in. I promise you that. And if anything, if you have it wrong, it's going to kill your credibility. Same thing with addresses, right? Like, that's why I don't care. I'm just concerned about pulling them in, right? That's the biggest thing, right? So now when we're in telesales, right, it's very different from in-home. In-home, you're trying to get in the home, right? Just the reality of it. A minute, 2 minutes on the call, I'm coming over, boom, done. You're gonna ask for their social and banking over the phone, and you're gonna pitch options to them. You're gonna have to have them on the phone for 30 minutes. And that's if you're quick on the phone, right? Or let's just say 45 minutes for an hour for a newer agent, right? Think about this. If you're going to be combative over the phone, right? What are the chances of them giving you social and banking? Not very likely. It's just not going to happen. It's common sense, right? So what you want to do is constantly be asking questions. Questions demand responses, right? When you tell someone something, they're like, who are you? I don't know who you are. When you ask someone a question in the right tone, they answer. They might even hang up, by the way. But I guarantee you ask someone the right questions in the right way 6 times in a row, you keep on the phone a lot longer than someone you just told to do something. And then if you call them back 10 times, guess what? Now they're pissed off. Now they're definitely not going to give you their information. So I think a lot of this is just understanding, hey, we're in a world where there's a lot of telemarketers and scams, right? So how do we combat that? We be different. That's it. That is it. Just being different on the phone, right? And I'm going to dive into kind of what that looks like, right? But that's the biggest thing for you guys, like, be different, right? You do not want to be too direct. I know that's, you're all going like, what? That's completely opposite, right? Don't be direct. When you're too direct, what happens is, again, you're a random person calling these people. They don't care who you are. They don't, I promise you, they do not care if they hurt your feelings. You're a random person calling. Do you want to dial 3 trillion times a day, or do you not want to dial that much to make a lot of money? You tell me. I mean, it's your business, it's your life, right? But at the end of the day, it's gonna hang up on you, right? And I emphasize on that so much because there's like, I don't use a 50-page script or any of that stuff. I just have a conversation. The key is have a conversation and always be closing them without them knowing that you're closing them. That is the key right there, right? So we'll kind of go into some script stuff, right? So as I start out, my thing is in the first 5 minutes, is it a buyer or a liar? I want to know right away. I don't need, if I also get on the phone with them and there's 2 objections or 3 objections, I don't keep going. The people who keep going, that's called ego. Doesn't get you anywhere in this life. It does not get you anywhere in this. You can sit there for 20 minutes and argue someone over the phone about this and that, but I'll tell you right now, you're just wasting your time. That's why we have leads. We want to help families, but if they don't want you to help them, you can't help them. You can't help everybody, right? We all know everyone needs life insurance. Agreed? So we know that, but are they going to let you help them? I don't know. Not everyone. I guarantee you not everyone, right? So we have to focus on the people who want help, right? I can tell you right now, I am very quick to get off the phone if someone's very combative. I will stop in the middle and go, John, do you really want this? Or are you wasting my time? What's going on? I mean, are you serious about getting signed up for other families to help? I won't say you're wasting my time, but you get the point. Because if you don't, you will waste your time talking to people who don't care. And that's the world we're in, right? So you find the people who want help, right? There's a lot of them out there, right? So that's the first thing, the first 5 minutes, right? Diagnose what kind of person you have on the phone, right? The opener, okay? Tone is key, right? When I do, I give my information, I don't go too deep into it. So I would give them my information. I act very nonchalant about it. So here's the thing. People make a big deal out of what you make a big deal. Okay. So this is just my information. It's like my social for insurance, how you look me up, all that fun jazz. That's literally how I play it off. You want people to almost make a joke out of it. Like, oh, okay, cool, whatever. But if you go, you need to know who I am, and there's so many scammers out there, dude, like, calm down. It's way too much, right? I don't send the credibility page, nothing, because truth be told, no one really cares if they see your face. A lot of times, so like anyone can Photoshop that, especially when you get into a younger crowd and know about Photoshop and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't do much, right? There are people who literally have forgotten my name by the end of the call. I guess I don't know if they just didn't like the name Sean or what it was, but like it obviously wasn't that important to them, right? So the point is you don't have to build all this crazy credibility. It's actually weird when you build too much credibility, right? They look at it like, why is he trying to push this so hard, right? You want to be pushy without being pushy, right? So people have to get moved out of their own way. But if you come across where they feel you're being pushy, resistance. Who wants resistance on a sales call? I don't want resistance at all, right? So always be disarming. I would write that down. Always be disarming, right? You want to lower resistance at all times during the call. All right. So couple ways to do that, right? If someone says something, they, maybe they say, I'm not interested, right? You don't go, yeah, I'm not interested either, but don't do that. Please, for the love of God, don't do that. Because they're gonna go, okay, well, why are you being like, it throws them off. They get resistance, right? We have to remember we're asking for social and banking. Like, please understand that. Okay. I don't want resistance during social and banking. I want it to be smooth. I don't want to fight objections all day long, right? So how do you combat that, right? You fight objections as you're going when they don't feel you're fighting them. So if someone says something about scam halfway through your presentation, you should probably dig into that before you keep going. Why? Because, well, someone got scammed. Maybe they don't have money. Maybe they're afraid to give out their banking because they got scammed, right? You should probably dig into that and set the stage. So I'm big on setting the stage, right? If I hear things like scam and something about banking, and I know that they have an account and routing through the questions I ask, I will literally set the stage saying, oh, well, it must have been through a credit card, like most people, right? I mean, because the account and routing, that's on the check that you hand across the whole world, for your whole entire life. So there's nothing you can do with that. You can't buy a sandwich or anything. I'm setting the stage because I know I'm about to ask them for their account and routing, right? One of the biggest keys is being calm toned, though, right? So you don't want to give them a reaction. Reactions are bad. Do not give reactions, right? So pretty much as you're going through, I have bullet points. I don't read from a script and do all the fun stuff. When you're newer, I'd say it's probably good to have a foundation, right? Before you start doing bullet points, because if not, you'll be all over the place. One guy, and I'll send Ben some videos over, but you guys can start looking him up. Jeremy Lee Minor. That's where I learned all my sales from. I'm sure you all have heard about him already, right? But that's where I learned all my sales from. And I can tell you that my close rate shot through the roof, because it's non-combative. Okay. So a couple things, right? So first 5 to 15 seconds, right? Make sure that you're drawing them in. Questions draw in, tone draws in, right? So an opener would be, now it depends on what leads you're running, by the way. So like if it's straight just says life insurance on it and you say this, they're gonna be confused, right? But my opener for a newer lead would be something like this, right? Who would go, hey, Ben?
Hello?
Yeah, it's Sean. I was supposed to reach out. I guess you were possibly looking for more info on the burial programs. Do you recall that?
Yeah, I think I filled that out on Facebook.
Absolutely. So I guess I should ask, were you just looking for yourself, and do you have anything in place? Kind of walk me through what your situation is.
Oh yeah, I was pretty much just looking for myself, but I'm married and I have 2 kids. They're older now, but really just looking to get something in place. I saw the ad, but I was just kind of price shopping. And I'll go to somebody else and probably price shop them too.
Yeah, that makes sense. No worries, brother. So do me a favor, go ahead and get a pen and paper, and we'll kind of go over what options and see if anything even makes any sense to you. Okay. Let me know when you have that. All right. I'll wait for you.
Okay. I don't have any time at all right now. Maybe I can call you later.
So that's fine, brother. My schedule is pretty packed. Let me look here just because I don't know that I'd be readily available for just a random call. Let me see. And then I would say a time or whatever. I have some time around this time. I don't ever give a set time, by the way. Right. Now I might have pushed a little bit because I one thing is like hearing. If they're in the car, right? I'm listening for in their car or what they're doing, right? I'm not big on like continuously pushing, because you're just gonna piss people off a lot of times. You can try once, but if they really don't have time, like it is what it is, right? You got leads, right? But if you notice when I did that opener, right, I was very confused for a reason. When I'm confused, it's like, I'm not really sure why they're having me reach out. Do you remember filling this out or what's going on? I'm getting them to open up and not asking A/B questions, right? So if I ask an A/B question, so right, so like, do you feel you can't afford it, or do you feel like you won't qualify? Well, what happens when they try and say something, catch them in a lie, right? So I always compare it to this. When, and it's the best comparison I have, so bear with me here, but say you just cheated on your girlfriend, right? You want to meet her at a bar, okay? And you get caught in a lie. She asked where you were last night. You told her something different. She's got pictures of you somewhere else, whatever the case is. Your first initial reaction is not to sit there and have a good conversation, put your arm around her and go, you know what? You're right. I lied. No, that's not human nature. Nobody does that. It's, oh God, I just got caught, right? That's the way you're wired, right? It's the same thing with on the phone. If they lied to you, do you think they want to be called out on the fact that they lied to you? It's combative. They don't want that, right? So if I'm vague and I draw them in, it allows them to open up. And by the way, when you're asking such specific questions and not just narrowing it down, you're not getting the full answers to things, which means you can't pick out what questions you want to ask to then close them at the end. You're missing things, guarantee it, right? So I kind of embrace the vague, to be very honest with you, which is, again, very different from what everyone's heard. I'm sure of it, right? So you heard, kind of walk me through that, walk me through, right? I'm always trying to sound like, I mean, I know you said X, Y, and Z. Do you mind kind of walking me through that a little bit, just so I have a better understanding of, what your financial plan is now compared to, I guess, where you want it to be and what maybe that gap looks like? So it's very keywords, right? Kinda, I guess, maybe. One key thing is, and I'm just kind of jumping around little key points in the script because we don't have like 3 hours here, but I down close before I close. I try to, at least. Now, when you're pitching options, right? When you do that, you're talking numbers. What happens when a salesman pitches you numbers and you give an objection to it? Now you feel like you're trying to be sold. And now there's resistance. Always be closing. So if they say they've been shopping around, I don't ask directly, oh, how long have you been shopping around for? I don't ask that. There are ways to ask things without being direct, because some people might just be like, what does it matter? I just wanted a quote. If you know how to say things kind of around the bush in a sense, it'll get them to open up more, right? Just different verbiage, right? So one thing, and write this down, this is very important. I use this all the time. If someone says something super expensive and I know just by their age it's going to be expensive anyways, I don't pitch them the same option, because now they're going to put me in the same category as the person I said no to before, right? You're getting hung up on. Do not do that. What I do is I'll reference, I'll say, oh, wow, really? I mean, you're pretty healthy, aren't you? Whether they're healthy or not, by the way. I don't care if they're healthy or not, right? You're just trying to draw them in. Then I would say, I mean, I guess you were looking at, 20,000 and you're just kind of looking for bare minimum. Tell me this, would you be opposed to cremation? Look what I just did there. I just down closed them before I got to the close, because now I can pitch lower if they say yes. And by the way, when they say no, it means yes. Are you opposed to? No means yes in that question. It's a psychology trick, right? Now, Does it work for everybody? Again, by the way, this is not like a foolproof thing. It doesn't work for every single person on the phone. I still get cussed out. I still get told, like, it still happens, by the way, because I'm not perfect. But what I will tell you is when you do that, I have literally closed deals that other agents couldn't close because they're trying to fill their pockets. But let me tell you something, you get good at closing, you ain't worried about getting $400 premiums out of each person because you just sell 4 deals. Done. And then when one charges back, you're not worried about a $400 charge back per month, right? Mm-hmm. So it's just, look at that kind of stuff too. Ben, you want to say something, bro?
Yeah, no, just to kind of like get everybody's attention, right? Because this is, it's a different approach to selling. And we've been over it plenty of times on morning meeting with Jeremy Lee Minor content, but I guess just to like build some rapport, I should have done this at the beginning, but Sean, on average, how many calls do you make per day, and what did you make last month?
Y'all might get a little pissed off when I tell you this. On the weeks I did like big weeks, I don't know. So I'll do like I did 17 families. I guess what I was supposed to say, right? 17 families. I think I did 12 or 15 apps, something like that. All manually dialing off my personal cell phone across 23 states. I don't use a CRM or anything like that. Probably on I don't know, maybe per day, 30 to 50.
So like if that's 30 phone calls a day, 30 to 50 phone calls a day.
That's leads. So like I dial it twice, move on to the next. So whatever that equates to. Yeah. And that's just me rough balling it. But if I hit 150 in a day, I'm like, what's going on?
And that's to issue pay 17,000 in a week. So like, I think the clear difference between maybe some of what you've heard before is like, I have to sit down and make 500 dials today. They have the motto, 1,000 dials, $1,000, right? Mm-hmm. You all have heard that. If you master the skill, if you master the art of getting attention through tonality and not being like all the other people, Sean and I were just talking about it on the phone earlier. The better you get at sales, the more you make and the less you have to work. Mm-hmm. Right. But in order to get to that point, number one, you have to train yourself, like Sean talked about at the beginning. And number two, you have to put in reps and get the practice, right, in order to go about getting to that sort of skill level. And I don't know about you guys, but I think everybody would want to make less phone calls and make more money. So
yeah, dude. I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's not rocket science. It's just work. It's literally just work, dude. Like I'm not like that's why I said I'm not smarter than anyone on this call. Like I'm not. I don't have an engineering degree, by the way. I came from engineering. I don't have an engineering degree. Didn't I go to school for engineering? I would fail that class hard, by the way. I'm just being honest. So like you gotta understand, I used to, by the way, I used to be scared of the phone. I used to do breathing exercise and take cold showers. I should probably add this in here, right? I was scared of the phone. Now I'll hop on, I'll close anyone. I'm down. Let's go. But do you understand how much work it took to get to that point? A to Z doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen by going out and drinking. It doesn't happen like it just doesn't. And I'll tell you what, here's one thing. Note this down because this is, you can transfer this to your agents and everything. We all know there's how many licensed agents in this world, right? Not even FFL. I'm talking like anyone, right? Everyone has something to say, right? Do things this way, do things that way, right? When it comes to sales, ask them these questions. What did you do last month? What did you IP last month? Okay. You want to ask them, okay, perfect. How many dials did you make? How many presentations did you do? How many deals did you close? Okay. And that will give you a good idea of how good they are at sales. I don't care if you did 40K in a month. Doesn't impress me whatsoever. You could have done one annuity and boom, you're done. Good. Got it. Awesome. It does not impress me whatsoever. What impresses me is if you did lower amounts of dials, close at a higher rate. Say you did 17 presentations and closed 14 of them. Now I'm impressed. I'm very impressed now. If you did 100 or say you did 40 presentations and closed 3 and wrote 40 grand or 20 grand, I am not impressed whatsoever about that. Not even a little bit. That doesn't show me you're good. It just shows me work ethic. That's fine. You need that too. But if you're not good on the phone, how do they help you? Well, let's just be realistic here, right? So ask and have your agents ask those questions too. Whenever someone comes up to you, I mean, don't be, arrogant about it, right? But like, awesome, man. Like, how much you write last week? Oh, really? Okay, cool. Ask into it. Because the last thing I would hate is for any of you get wrong information and get all scattered and go crazy, right? I'm not saying my way is the only way, by the way. I'm just saying get things from a credible source. And by the way, before I did high numbers, when someone would ask me, I would say, okay, so this is my opinion, but you know what? Hey, they're actually doing way more than me. You should go ask them. Like, I didn't act like this credible source and stuff like that. If you're not, like, numbers don't lie, by the way. Like, they just don't, right? So be very conscious of that. I mean, I would literally trickle that down to your agents, 100%, 100%. And we see it now. Listen to people who are actually writing business, right? It's that simple, right? So that's a huge one. I tell agents that all the time. I think I've told Ben that like 100 times too. Like it's so important, right? So, catching attention, back to kind of what we were saying. So that was my one opening line. I don't have the same opening line for an older lead. That's the difference there, right? So I didn't say, I literally, the whole thing, like, I was very, like, I guess you were possibly looking, it wasn't direct. It was, this guy's sitting at a computer looking at something. He's not really sure why he's calling, but he doesn't sound like he's selling me anything. What's going on here? I don't care if you throw me an objection. I just need to draw you in so I can get the objection and handle it. Right? That's the key here. It's not that you're not going to get objections. You still know how to handle objections. It's more about drawing them in. Because if they're not drawn in, good luck.
So
Right?
let's kind of go over some of those objections and maybe just like role play a little bit if you're cool with it.
Yeah.
And just kind of hear how the disarming tactic works, right? Because I think a lot of times we are told or we hear to be combative over the phone, call clients or prospects out on their lies or whatnot. Like he said, nobody wants to get called out on a lie. So let's just kind of go through a couple objections and really hear what that looks like and the tonality of it. Pay attention to tonality and really just pay attention to the way that it would make the prospect feel on the other end of the phone.
Okay. For sure. Let's do, if you don't mind, just because I think as newer agents come on, they're not getting like brand new leads, they're probably even older leads and stuff like that, just because they don't come in with money usually. So it's like cheaper leads, the whole nine. So let's do that just because they're going to already have it taken care of and that kind of stuff. If you're cool with that, just because that's what I've noticed.
Cool.
So basically, I'll just do my opener, right? So, hey, Ben.
Hello, who's this?
Yeah, hey, it's Sean. I was supposed to reach out. And by the way, I'm not sure you're going to remember this. You might not, but you're still pending in the system for the burial programs. Did you get that taken care of, or are you still kind of in the process? What's going on here? Can you kind of walk me through that?
I don't remember doing any sort of that. I have no clue what you're talking about.
No worries, brother. So it was a couple months ago now. You filled out some information on Facebook. It was very basic regarding just some burial programs. Does that maybe ring a bell?
Yeah. Again, I really don't remember. It could have been. Yeah, I forget.
No worries. So I guess when you were looking at this, were you looking more for burial or cremation or to kind of leave some money behind?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to leave some money behind and make sure I don't have anything in place for burial. So
Okay. So you didn't get, no one reached out to you or anything then. It's
no,
okay.
I haven't heard anything. I get a lot of scam likely calls. I never pick those up.
Like most families, right? Telemarketers always calling and stuff. Good God. Now, I guess, were you just looking for yourself, or I mean, did you have someone else in mind? What are your thoughts?
Well, I need to make sure that my wife is taken care of if anything were to happen to me. But yeah, that's just myself.
Okay. Do you, if you have a pen and paper quick, we can just kind of go over some options and see what even, I guess, makes sense since nobody got back to you. Let me know when you got that. I'll wait for you, man. Okay.
Okay. All right, I got.
Perfect, brother. So you already know my name, right? But it's Sean. So it's like Scene, but Sean. And then my last name is McMurtrie. Now I'll spell that for you because I know it's hard to say and spell. Trust me. It's McMurtrie. It's Scott Irish, by the way. That's why it's hard to say and spell. But anyway, and then my NPN number is 1123484. Okay. Let me know when you got that.
Okay.
Okay. So basically, that's like my social for insurance, right? That basically it's how you look me up, all that fun jazz. Okay, I'm just required to give it to you. Now, I see you as 212 of 59. How young does that make you, brother?
Um, Trying to do math right now. I guess 67.
Oh, okay. Well, you're young, my man. You're young. Okay. So I guess I mean you're 67. We have nothing in place as of now. I guess I'm a little curious. What prompted you to look into this all of a sudden now?
Well, my kids are out of the house now, and I helped them through college, so I had to pay for a lot for college. But I don't really have much to leave behind for my wife, like I said. So that's why now.
Okay, so the kids moved out. It was just kind of financially, it's easier now.
Right, right. And I guess I wasn't really thinking about it before, but I saw this ad pop up, and yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you what, most families, it's not something that they jump out of bed thinking about, right? Most people wait till they're 80, so you're in a good spot. Most people don't even take care of it this young. So I mean, you're in a good spot. But nothing hopefully happened or anything that got you looking at this, did it?
Um, I mean, we went through a lot, and my grandfather passed away when I was young. And so I won't want to be like that. I don't want to leave my family in that situation.
My condolences. If you don't mind me asking, when did that happen?
I was about 19 years old, and like I said, my family didn't have a lot, so I had to take care of them.
Oh wow. And I hope to God he had coverage, did he?
No, no, not at all.
Oh, I mean, did you have to take up that cost or what? I mean, how did that affect your family?
Yeah, between me and my siblings had to work extra hard, that's for sure.
Jesus, dude. I'm sorry to hear that. So you definitely see the value in having in coverage. You went through it firsthand, huh?
Right. Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Well, I mean, as far as are you looking more on the burial or the cremation side of
Um,
things?
I'm I'm looking on the burial side. I think that's what I want to have done.
Okay. And I guess as far as burial, I mean, do you know kind of how much that costs nowadays?
Last time I checked, it was about $500.
Gotcha. Was that back in like 1923? No, I'm just kidding. But so generally nowadays, brother, I mean it's 10 to 15,000. Okay.
Oh my
It
goodness.
kind of depends. You want a golden casket or you want bare minimum. It really just depends on where your family wants to be at. Most families want just kind of bare minimum. Is that kind of your thoughts as well?
Yeah, yeah, for the most part.
Absolutely. And trust me, I get it. It costs to live and it costs even more to die nowadays. Let me tell you. Trust me. Um, who's gonna be kind of the person taking care of everything when you do pass?
It would be my wife for sure. But my kids would definitely be able to take care of it as well.
Ah,
So part of that.
okay. And what is your wife's name by chance, bro?
It's Nancy.
Okay. And then same last name, I assume, right? I gotta check. I know it sounds stupid, but
Yeah.
still gotta check, right?
No, same last name.
So I mean, Nancy's gonna be taking care of everything. If you were to pass away right now, this phone call dropped, what would that look like financially?
Oh well, we don't have much. We have the house that we're still paying the mortgage off on. We bought that about 5 years ago. and there we have the car that's all paid off, and that's good. But she would have to take the mortgage payment. That's what I'm most worried about.
Oh, wow. And I guess what does that look like?
It's about 1,700 a month.
Whoa. Is that something that you feel, I mean, she could take over if something happened to you right now? Or, I mean, is there at least something put away to take care of it? I mean, kind of walk me through what's going on.
We really don't have much put away for it. So yeah, I'm definitely pretty worried about that one. I would want to make sure that she doesn't have to worry about that as much.
Okay. And I mean, how long have you had the house?
About 5 years. 5 years.
Okay.
Yep.
Is there, do you know about how much equity you have built into it? I mean, you paid into it for 5 years, right? I mean,
Yeah, I did look at it, and it was we bought it at about
mm,
150,000, and now it's worth about 225,000 or so. So
so
um,
you're telling me you have $75,000 in equity in the home.
yeah, I think that's about what it's at. Last time I checked, the real estate market over the past 5 years has really
It,
bumped.
it definitely went up. There's no doubt about that. So, I mean, most families, I mean, you have $75,000 in equity. I mean, that's a salary per year, right?
Right.
Most families wouldn't want that to kind of go back to the bank. I mean, I'm assuming you're not okay with that, are you?
Absolutely not. No, no.
Yeah, I mean, that's wow, 75,000. Jesus. I mean, I guess let's kind of take a step back here for a second. I know you just saw the ad and you're looking around. I mean, have you been searching, just maybe haven't found what you're looking for? Or I mean, why is it taking so long to really get something in place for your family?
Yeah, I guess this is really the first time that I had the full conversation with it, but like I said, I get a lot of scam calls and people that I hang up on. So it's kind of your tonality really let my defensive side down. All right, sorry, back into it.
You're funny, brother. Anyway, so you haven't really, I mean, you haven't really talked to anyone then. Was everyone just annoying you with phone calls and you just didn't want to deal with it like most families? Because trust me, I understand. I get them too.
Yeah, that and like I said, my kids just all
Mhm.
out of the house now, so good timing.
Yeah, no worries. So I guess, I mean, let's just kind of recap here. I mean, we don't have anything put away, which that's most Americans, right? But if something happened to you, I mean, it's safe to say there'd have to be a GoFundMe or you'd have to take out a loan similar to almost what you went through with your grandfather, right?
Right. Yeah, it would have to be that, or the kids would really have to step up and take care of Nancy. And I know that they already have a lot on their plate, so I don't want that.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, I mean, I know this is going to sound super cheesy, but I mean, you don't want that to happen, right? I mean, like most families,
Absolutely not. No.
I, it sounds like a tough spot, but I mean, at least you're looking into it now. So you're smarter than most. I'll tell you that. Good God. Now, I guess what does your health look like? I mean,
Right now I'm in good health. I really don't have too many things other than my high blood pressure, and but my wife, she had open heart surgery about 3 years ago, so that's why I'm more worried about her and just being able to take care of herself.
how's she doing? If you don't mind me asking.
Now she's doing well. She needs help a lot of the time, but other than that, she's doing well. She's on a lot of medications too,
Hmm.
and so I want to make sure that she's taken care of and that the kids don't have to help her out too much.
So I guess it's safe. I mean, she can't work, I'm assuming.
Right? Yeah, she definitely could not work.
And do you still work?
No, no, I'm retired, but I have a pension and Social Security. Between those two, I get about $3,000 a month.
Oh wow. Okay. And I guess what does your wife bring in per month, if you don't mind me asking?
She just has a little bit of Social Security. She has about 900 to 1,000 a month.
Okay. So she's gonna get your 3,000, but that thousands it's gone if something happens to you.
Right.
So, I mean, we're talking that's a lot. That's half the mortgage payment right there. Jesus. Okay. I guess, do you smoke at all? Or, I mean, what does that look like?
No, no, I don't smoke at all.
Never smoked at all, huh?
Maybe a cigar or two, but that was years ago.
Oh my man, what kind of cigars do you smoke? I love cigars.
No, I like Black and Milds from 7-Eleven. They're my favorite.
I had those back in the days that started hurting my throat. So we stopped doing all that. But I'll tell you what, you're a better man than me. Now, I guess, I mean, you don't have to give me a laundry list. Please don't give me a laundry list. But what medications are you taking? Just what are they for?
Yep. All I have is high blood pressure, and there's another one that's for high blood pressure and hypertension. But other than that, I'm golden goose.
Going, I love it, man. You make my life easy. You make my life easy. Now, I guess surgeries, right? This isn't as important, but anything recently, anything invasive, a broken knee doesn't count.
Okay. I was gonna say I did have a knee replacement. That was about 15 years ago, and like I said, it's better with the fake one than it was with the real one. So
Okay.
good with that. That's about it.
Okay. So, but there's, I mean, we have no neuropathy or COPD or diabetes or anything like that. I mean, we're golden goose, no cancers, HIV/AIDS, nothing like that.
Nothing like that.
Okay, so you're healthy. I only ask because listen, I can't tell you how many people tell me they're healthy and then all of a sudden they have cancer. Just making sure, my man. They yell at me if I don't. But so you got $1,700 mortgage. Now, I guess the real question is, most families, you're looking for burial, okay? Now, most families, they want to take care of the payments for generally about 6 months, okay? 6 to 9 months to kind of figure out what they're going to do. Now, do you plan on keeping the house in the family, or do you feel like you want them to just sell it and get the equity out of it? I mean, kind of walk me through what that looks like.
Yeah, it's a 2-story house, and so I don't have any reason for them to keep it. They can definitely sell it. But I know that's a lot for Nancy to take under her wing. So yeah, I'm not sure what that looks like. I've never thought about it.
Okay. And I know you mentioned, just to kind of take a step back here, I know you mentioned about burial. Let me ask you, are you opposed to cremation at all?
Yeah, it's against my religion.
Okay, so that's out of the question for sure, which is most families, they feel the same way. It's not a big deal. But if it came down to it, do you feel, I mean, would you make an exception if it came down to it, or you pretty strong against that?
I could make an exception if it was, really left Nancy's well-being on the line.
Yeah, I mean, and that's honestly, that's how most people feel. They have, what they want, but at the end of the day, they want to make sure that everything's taken care of. And most families don't want to let, ego or anything get in the way. We all want Ferraris, right? But we can all afford them, right? And that's just the reality. Now, I'm sure you can agree with that, right?
Yeah.
Now, $1,700 a month, okay. Do you know the difference between an agent and a broker? That's probably the most important part.
No, I have no idea. What does that mean?
No worries, brother. That's what I'm here for. So an agent works for a specific company. So pick any company in the United States, any insurance company, okay? They work for that specific company, but they only have access to the products within that company. That is it. Okay, so they can't help you look around. Now, a broker has access to all the companies in the state. So they don't care where you go. They're not partial to any company, but they can look around. And I'm assuming you want the best bang for your buck, right?
Absolutely. Who doesn't?
Like most families, right? We want to get the most out of our money. Absolutely. So do me a favor, write down 40,000, 30,000, and then 20,000.
Okay.
Okay. Now, pretty much, I mean, we know what these are going to do, right? So I know you'd rather have your burial. Okay. But let's see, I think you said you're 63, right?
Right.
Okay, perfect. So we don't need an astronomically huge amount. I mean, are you with me there?
Yeah. I mean, the more the better, but yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you're pretty healthy, which makes things a lot easier in my life, which by the way, I thank you for taking care of yourself because you make my life so much easier. So the 40,000, what that's going to do is that's pretty much going to take care of burial, but it's also going to give you, probably that 6 month range to take care of everything you have to make sure that your wife, you're not losing the house, right? You're not turning over in your grave because the house that you worked for is going away. Okay. The 30,000 is pretty much the same thing, just less per month, right? Less monthly coverage, right? As far as how long you can sustain. Okay. And then the 20,000, that's that's a little more than bare minimum, but most people, 30, 40 is really where they want to be in your scenario. Now, when I asked you, are you opposed to cremation? Everyone's budget's different. So the very last thing you want to do is do something that's not comfortable and affordable. Okay. So what I want you to write down is immediate coverage. That's probably the most important thing. It's guaranteed to never rise on you. All right. And then you know the difference between whole life and term?
Yeah, I know the term is for a certain amount of time and whole life lasts forever.
Okay, perfect. So you just made my life so much easier knowing all that information. I appreciate that. So we're going to talk about everything whole life. Okay. Because when you're 90, you want the coverage to still be in place, right?
Oh yeah, of course.
Like most families, right? So we don't want it to ever expire. Most families want it to last their whole entire life and they don't have to worry about it. You throw it in the drawer, don't worry about it, you're covered and you live your happy life, right? So the 40,000, okay, that's going to be 300. The 30,000 is going to be 200. And the 20,000 is going to be 100. Let me know when you have those, okay?
Got it.
Now, the most important part is for it to be comfortable and sustainable, okay? If you can't sustain it, having it doesn't matter. Would you agree?
Yeah, no, I agree with that for sure.
Now, I'm just the underwriter, right? So I don't make the final decision or anything. I'm the little guy on the totem pole, okay? But you do have to qualify regardless. I just hope you look good on paper, right?
Right.
Just do what the boss tells me to do. Now, out of those three options, I guess where do you feel most comfortable?
I think that high one, that's a little bit too much. I think the one right in the middle, because I want more coverage and that would work with our budget, I think.
So you feel the 30,000 is where you're most comfortable right now?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, perfect. And just so you're aware, we can raise it. Okay. So you're smart. Most families to go with where they feel comfortable first. And then if in a week or so they go, you know what? I really want to raise this up a little bit. I can afford more. They'll just give me a call back and we'll raise it up to the 40. Would that help you more?
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Perfect. So we'll start and see if we can even get you approved for the 30. That way you have something in place and we can raise it down the road if necessary. Now, I guess, have you had COVID-19 recently?
No, no,
And then I'm going right into, yeah.
okay.
So admittedly, there's things that I didn't do in order there that I would have just because like I'm better on calls, but you get the kind of the flow there, right?
100%.
There's some things I circle back around to. So are you opposed to cremation? I just wanted to know because if budget was going to be lower, right? By the way, do you notice I didn't break down budget, by the way? And I didn't ask how much was made until he said he made 3,000 because I knew he was comfortable sharing that.
Right.
So I didn't go, how much you make or how much you're, no one cares. Over the phone, no one's going to stop watching Netflix so you break down the budget. It's not going to happen, right? So we need to remember this is we're across the phone with someone. Now, what I would have done in that situation is I probably would have pitched an IUL, but I just did America real quick and I literally made up numbers. But the point is so I want them to see the whole think about it objection. I want you to throw at me because this is the one everybody gets when they're pitching numbers. And I know what you've heard, and I'm going to tell you a completely different way of handling it. And it's completely different. So where do you, I guess, feel most comfortable at just as of now?
Um, Man, you know what, Sean, I'm really gonna have to check in and with Nancy, and we just have to think about it.
And that makes sense, brother. I mean, it's a big decision. It's your livelihood, right? And just so you're aware, what most families will do in your exact situation is they'll see where they feel comfortable. Okay. They'll see if they can get approved and at least they have something in place because right now we have nothing, right? After they get something in place, they sit down with their husband or their wife or their grandmother, whoever they want to talk to, and go, hey, I have, say, 20,000. I really want the 30,000. Do you feel like I need more? Or do you think we're good at 20? And if they need more, they just give me a call back and we up it at that point. Would that help you more?
Yeah, that makes sense. It's better to have something than nothing. Let's do it.
That's not a problem. So I guess where do you feel most comfortable as of now?
I say the 20,000, definitely.
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll see if we can even get you approved for the 20,000 because that's the most important part. That's the hardest part. And then if you want to race down the road, just give me a call. You're with me for life. So hopefully you like me and we'll kind of take care of it from there. Fair enough.
That makes sense. Let's do
And
it.
then have you had COVID-19 recently?
No.
Okay. And then boom.
So, guys, just so like you all get exactly what he's doing, most people are like, or most agents, I guess, the response to that is, oh, no problem. You actually don't even have to make a decision today because we don't even know if you're approved yet. Right. That's the wrong way to do it. You're going to get a chargeback. Right.
So here's the big thing, right? Who here is getting banking objections? Like raise your hand.
Every now and then.
Okay. So are you closing saying we need to see if you get approved first? Or if there is to think about it?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yep, that's your problem right there.
Yep.
And I'm gonna tell you why. When you go to say, we need to see if you get approved first, and then you ask for their money, they're gonna go, well, I want to get approved. Why are you asking me for a banking? I didn't even know if I want it yet.
Right.
The way I just did it was most people, everybody wants to do what everyone else does, for one. And just so you're aware, it's an easy transition where it's smooth, right? Then what I do is, if you didn't catch this, I walk them through what the scenario looks like for all the other clients, right? By the way, I don't call them clients, I call them families. I don't say clients. Do not want to be looked at as a business owner. They are families, right? What they'll do is once they get approved and have something in place, notice how I said that? They have something in place because right now we have nothing. And notice how my tone changes. We sit down and we go, okay, do we want more? Are we happy where we're at? And then I start naming off relatives, whether it's son, daughter, whoever it is, because those are people they want to talk to. They're probably going to involve them in the conversation at some point. And then I just make it's a nonchalant, like it's not a big deal. Just give me a call back and we'll raise it if you feel you can handle it. This is huge. And I just recently stopped doing this, by the way. By the way, this tells you like I don't stop studying. I keep going. So if I'm doing it, y'all should be doing it, right? If you notice, do you feel that would help you? Not fair enough. Fair enough sounds fair enough. I'm trying to tell you something. Now, don't get me wrong. I still get caught saying it sometimes. Don't get me wrong. Again, not perfect. But when I said, I guess, do you feel that would help you more? Right away, oh, well, I didn't know that I could adjust it. By the way, nobody knows you can adjust it, by the way. They think they're stuck. They have no idea you can adjust it up. That is an us thing. They don't know. Some of you are probably losing sales because they don't know that they can adjust this up and they're not stuck. If you hear someone literally, when someone says I need to think about it, you want to sell them on what you're selling. And by the way, don't pitch all this product stuff. Nobody cares about living benefits and double indemnity. You're going to lose sales. Do not do that. I specifically pointed out those 3 things because that's all people care about. It's not going to rise. It never expires. And it's day 1 coverage. Now, obviously, if it's AIG, don't say day 1 coverage, right? But you get my point, okay? Or GIWL, you know what I mean, right? So those are the key. Those are the only, I don't talk about living benefits. Now, here is one of the biggest things I do, and it's amazing, okay? I was like, huh, interesting. And you know how I figured it out? When you think about if you go to a car dealership and you buy a $50,000 truck, okay? And you're signing the paper, it's like, oh my God, the $800 a month payment. I don't know if I really want that. Oh my God, right? But then the sales guy comes like, oh, by the way, brother, I totally forgot to tell you. This comes with the $3,000 upgrade leather. I'm totally forgot to tell you that. But yeah, the one you got, it comes with all of that. Oh, okay, awesome. I didn't thank you. Appreciate that. Or big wheels or whatever it is, right? They make you feel warm and fuzzy about buyer's remorse. So when they buy, what I do is I literally say to them, oh, and by the way, I forgot to mention this, but it actually, if you die, the coverage actually doubles. Notice how I said that, right? Now, obviously, like, don't like lie about it, right? Like if it doesn't double, don't say that. But what I do is like living benefits. I'll add it in after I close them because now it makes them feel warm and fuzzy about it. Okay. So people have buyer's remorse. It's just how it works, right? Oh, it's $100. I can probably swing it. Then we make them feel good about the purchase. They feel less buyer's remorse now, right? So I got asked the other day about chargebacks and stuff like that. And what are your chargebacks? And I said, I don't know, not a whole lot. It's the way you close. I didn't realize this at first, but it's the way you close. If you're just closing, if you say you have 30 days to think about everything, I mean, tell them they can, they can adjust it and stuff like that, but like, don't close with that because now they think that they can just think about it and they're going to go, oh, I can cancel in 30 days. That's awesome. Why would you set yourself up for that? Doesn't even make any sense. Don't say that, right? You want to make it seem like, well, no, we're going to do this, but we can always adjust it. That's fine. We can adjust it within 30 days or a week or whatever. That's fine, right? That's a big thing. I think the whole approval thing's fine, but it just say in a different way where that's not how you're closing. And I think it change things. I'll hit on banking and social too, because those are two things people get caught on, right? We all get caught on that, right? So when I'm asking for social, I'm going through the app, I'm trying to get filler conversation. So get people talking. That's why I ask a lot of questions because I want them talking. Gives me time to go through stuff. Now you're going to get dry people who don't talk a lot. I can't control that, nor can you, right? But I'll go through and then I'll literally say, and social will be the last thing I ask for. And I go, unless it's a straight line. Sometimes I'm like, whatever, just go for it. I don't do that. But you get my point, right? I will literally say to them, I'll go through everything and then I'll go, now I have the dumb question of the day for you. Ready? They go, yeah, what's up? Are you a legal US citizen? Notice how I said that, right? They're gonna go, yeah, I am. I know it's stupid, but I gotta ask. And I know you've been here your whole life. Trust me, I get it. And then what's your social, hun? It's literally how I asked for it. Okay. You can have people text it to you, people email it to you. Yes, I've done that. Okay. Sometimes people just don't feel comfortable over the phone saying it, but they trust you. They just don't know. Maybe someone's listening, right? We're in a world where you say something, all of a sudden ads start popping up, and it's like, how did they hear me? What's going on, right? Seniors think about that stuff, right? And then for banking, when you're leading up to it, this is key. So you'll say, who do you bank with? Right. So, okay, hon. And then who do you bank with? They'll tell you, look up the routing number. Okay. So do you guys look up the routing number? I'm assuming you do. Okay, perfect. This bit me the other day. I lost a $4,000 deal the other day. This bit me. I literally forgot to mention, did they open it up in that state and I put the wrong routing number? Killed credibility. Lost $4,000. Do not do that. I've killed credibility instantly with that, right? So this is a tricky one because make sure you have the right state. Generally speaking, when I say it, it's right. But I just happen to it was a learning experience, right? Still learning, right? And then what I'll say is once I pick it up, I'll go, and then I have your routing number is XYZ. Is that correct? They might say, oh, how do you have that? Well, because banks are all partnered with all the insurance companies, I have access to it just because I'm in the industry. Is that correct? Just nonchalant. And you can change the verbiage on that. That's not specific, but nonchalant. Just yeah, we all have access to it. It's not a big deal. Is that correct though? Awesome. And then the account number when you're ready, or the account when you're ready. That's it. and then I'll go back up, and then I do the whole like the first draft, 24, 48 hours, blah, blah, blah. Why? Because what I've learned is when you push it out, sometimes you have to, but people, when they feel locked in, even though they're not, they don't, they feel like, oh, well, it already came out. I guess I got it. Like, okay. But if you give them a month to think about it, and like, oh, I don't know, Joey's birthday is coming up, and I really want that box of beer, and ooh, cigarettes are pretty important this month. See what I'm saying? They have time to think about it, and oh, I don't want that money coming out. But if you do it right away, I can assure you, no one's gonna call you back and go, you know what? I'm so mad that you took the $100 out. We got a $20,000 check, but I'm so mad that you took that. No one, it's not gonna happen, right? No families can complain to you about that. Now, obviously, make sure it's okay with them. But my point is if they die without it, they're gonna wish they had it. So just think about that too, right? But that's it, guys. I mean, that's kind of just pretty much the rundown of everything. I mean, it goes deeper in, and I'll send Ben some videos and stuff like that. But I mean, it's really just always be disarming, right? You want to be different on the phone, dig into things. Big thing, this is the only thing too. Transitions are key in sales, right? Stay away from buts, use ands, right? So if we've all been on the phone, there's people talking, it's hard to get a word in edgewise, right? Like, just don't stop talking, right? You get them started. Think of it like a graph. When someone's talking like this, a lot of them, they're all the way up here, but then they come down and they go to stop for a second and maybe ask a question or go in a different direction. Listen for that point. Because what's going to happen is when they come down, they're talking, yeah, and you know, so that's pretty much what happened there. Yeah, and that makes sense. And just so you're aware, transition. And I don't see it here, but what's your height, hun? I don't even have it in front of me. I just do it to get back on pace, and it's in a way where and I don't see it here, but it's not like I'm just cutting you off because I don't want to talk to you. It's, oh, and by the way. You see what I'm saying? So it's not as abrasive. Okay. That's like the big thing. And then if you want, I mean, I know we're going a little past here. We can hit a couple of objections. That's up to you.
I think we touched on quite a few objections there when we were going through it. So like, I feel very going through that role play, guys, I want you to get the feeling that I had like as a client. I feel very like disarmed. I don't feel like I'm being closed. When you master the art of questions, master the art of tonality like that, people want to trust you, right? As opposed to they want to hang up on you. And so obviously, Sean, I want to be respectful of your time, and we are running here a little bit, but if you could, just what is the one most important piece of advice that you would give to agents?
Ooh. Master sales. Everyone's too worried about, and I went through it too, by the way, so I'm guilty of this. Everyone wants to build a massive agency, but let me ask you something. I've been on recruiting calls, and people want to know, like, how much, you know, like, what does that even look like, right? If you can't write business, why would anyone listen to you? Right? That's what causes conflict. Now, you can leverage other people. That's fine. I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying, like, me personally, I'm not going to, why would I listen to someone writing less than me? I'm going to listen to someone writing the same or more, right? That's why there's specific people I listen to when writing business, because I was like, oh, well, they're not dialing as much and they're writing a lot. What's going on there? I want to see what they're doing, right? So I would say it will help your agency in general, because what will happen is you'll get to the point where they'll want to listen to you. And if someone doesn't want to listen to you, then how do you teach them? So I would say sales, dial in sales, get good, because here sales is the lifeblood, and then you can delegate. And then you're not worried about it, by the way. You'll wake up in the morning, get to the point, you wake up in the morning and you're not worried about closing. You're like, oh, I'm going to close something today, or 2, 3 probably. See what happens. And you're just not worried about it. Like, get to that point, to the point where you feel so confident where you're just like, I mean, I'm going to close some. It's all good. People can feel that across their phone, by the way. They can feel when you're needy. 100% they can feel it. They'll literally say to you, I know you're trying to make a sale. How do I know that? Because it's happened to me. And I'm like, no. You know what I'm saying? So, like, keep that in mind, right? We want to help people, but if you truly care about families, get good at sales because you'll help more. That's my number one advice.
Thank you so much for that. Like, that was awesome. I think that of the questions I had written down, we covered them, we hit them at one point or another. Thank you so much again for your time. And thank you again for hopping on here, giving us all a bunch of value. This is a recording, so we'll all have the ability to hop back on, go through that role play, super valuable, and really just mastering the art of sales is going to be the main point moving forward. So thank you again. We appreciate it.
Let's go, bro. I'm stoked to see all your progress and everything, dude. Thank you for having me on, dude. And I will here, I'll do something for y'all. I'll go pass it around to everyone now, but there's my phone number.